We're staying with Eyewitness News. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Jessica Cartalia, and here's what people are talking about.
People living along the Texas-Louisiana border are feeling Harvey's second punch as flash flooding tears through homes and overwhelms first responders. Harvey made its second landfall today as a tropical storm after roaring ashore as a hurricane last week. WJZ is first warning weather coverage. Chris Van Cleve reports for WJZ from Houston on how the unprecedented flooding is affecting hospitals in Texas, and Meg McNamara with how warm water temperatures fueled Harvey's fury. Let's start with Chris.
We were a little nervous who would make it in time. So it's nice to have a good thing come out of something so scary.
So scary because as Harvey dumped record rain flooding Houston, Sarah Hunter went into labor.
He has a flair for the dramatic, that's for sure.
But she and her husband Wesley had decided to ride out the storm at a hotel close to the hospital just in case. And sure enough, little Elliot came a week early.
We wouldn't have been able to make it to the hospital if I hadn't.
The hospital picked this hotel as part of their hurricane preparedness plan for a reason. They wanted women who are in high-risk pregnancies, people who could go into labor during the storm, to be at the Marriott because it's just steps away from Children's Hospital right there. And across the street, there is another emergency room.
Is your house okay?
Dr. Brent Cazzini leads the emergency management team at Texas Children's Hospital, where Elliot and 26 others have been born since Saturday.
Harvey has been that it's been a kind of an ongoing issue, so it's been days on days.
But the staff was ready for that, and the hospital was designed to resist a post-hurricane flood.
We have flood doors in the basement levels that are essentially like submarine doors that shut us off from the rest of the Texas Medical Center underground.
Children's has only seen minor leaks.
I think you can see a tree down there. And that's
But north of downtown, rising floodwaters forced St. Luke's Vintage Hospital to evacuate 29 patients Monday using boats and trucks.
Our biggest concern was the water that surrounded the hospital, accessibility, and we did have some water that got into our main powerhouse where all of our operational power and needed life-sustaining equipment comes from.
About 40 nurses and staff are still stranded inside the hospital.
And first warning weather coverage continues now. Meg McNamara has a closer look at what fueled Harvey and what's different about our region. Meg?
Well, Mary, so we've been talking about the unprecedented rain totals from Tropical Storm Harvey, and we are continuing to see them here on the radar. Now, keep in mind that hurricanes run off of the energy contained in the upper ocean, the warm surface temperatures. The warmer they are, the more that hurricane is going to intensify.
Hurricane Harvey will go down as one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history. I spoke to environmental science professor at the University of Maryland, Victoria Coles, who says Harvey's path through the unusually warm Gulf of Mexico contributed to its devastating rains.
Because the storm had such warm water, it became very intensified very rapidly.
Cole says the Gulf is the warmest it's been in 150 years.
The Gulf of Mexico is unusually warm right now and has been.
While the cooler waters of the Atlantic mean Maryland will likely not see a hurricane of Harvey's magnitude, we are still at risk for catastrophic rainfall.
We are seeing increases in temperature on the shelf off of the mid-Atlantic, and so it's not like we're totally immune. It's just that those increases are not going to be as large.
Cole says we've already felt the effects of that increase.
Over the past 100 years, we've seen really big changes in the intensity of precipitation. And so it doesn't have to be a hurricane for us to see a really big change. In fact, we've had some local examples of really large flooding events.
Cole says some of that is attributed to normal climate variability, but some of it is certainly due to this warming sea surface temperature.
And that means Maryland faces a higher threat for flooding as time goes on. Coles believes we'll continue to see not necessarily more rainfall overall in a year, but more really heavy rainfall over those certain days, those times of year when we already see significant rainfall. Back to you.
Makes sense, Meg. Thank you. WJZ has what you need.